What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Just turn my phone on do not disturb real quick. How's everybody doing? So good to be here and be back. Welcome to Apple Home Talk Live, all about building a smart home. Glad you guys can make it. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's say hi to some folks in the chat and then we'll get rolling here real quick. George, what's up, George? Happy Wednesday. George Langabeer in the house. Great YouTube channel there. Larry, what's up, Larry? Happy Wednesday. All right, good. Looks and sounds good. All right, no technical difficulties today. Thank you, Frederick. How you doing today, Frederick? Is it as hot everywhere else as it is here? Man, it has been brutal. Let me know where you're watching from. Look at the mustache. Yeah, a little something different. I don't know if it's going to stick. Feeling froggy this week, though. What's up, Don? Good to see you here. We got a lot of channel members in the house. Classic Zero, what's up? Classic Zero. Texas definitely represented. That's right, we do got a lot of Texans in the house. What's up, Jim? We got Missouri here. Lawrence, how's it going, Lawrence? Happy Wednesday. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? Yeah, a lot of channel members here, man. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for the support. I guess I should start first by saying if you want to become a channel member, you can join and get access to our member-only Discord server, as well as like behind-the-scenes videos, early access to new videos too most of the time, and just some other perks like that. You get a little monthly, a monthly milestone chat. I always forget the name of that here in the live streams as well, which I think a lot of people forget about those. So if you're a channel member, you have a monthly milestone chat that you can use here during the live streams. Did you get much rain from the hurricane sweeping up in the East Coast? We have not had as much rain the past week as we did the prior probably week or two. We got a lot of rain for like a straight week, but we've at least seen the sun here a good bit in the past week. So I'm not complaining. Michael Lewis, thanks, man. Mr. Jones, Seattle with a beautiful sunny and 75. Nice. That sounds real nice. Central Texas in the house. Dan, what's up, Dan? Steven, love you and Caroline new podcast. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, so let's jump in real quick to we got some news and stuff. I'll try to answer some questions today too, like we normally do here in the live streams, but just a couple quick little channel announcements or updates, and also some few things in smart home news, if you will, we'll cover, and then we'll get to some questions and everything like that. But first up, as Stephen mentioned, if you missed it, I just started a podcast with my wife. So that's something we've been thinking about doing for a long time. I put a link to it down in the description of the live stream if you want to check that out, but it is called the Wife Approved Podcast. So this is it here. You can find video versions of it on YouTube if you guys are interested in looking at a little bit more of the, behind the scenes, more real life stuff. We're going to be talking about tech, and you can see episode 2. We talked about automations, and she definitely had a few things to say there about that. But this is just a fun new project, something I'm doing with Caroline, and we're going to be talking about everything over there. So if you're interested, that's why I did decide to make that a new channel on YouTube. So would love for you to subscribe if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. Go check it out. Like I said, episode 1 and 2 are available now, and we're going to be doing new episodes every week. We're going to be getting into everything from, marriage, family, kids, life, obviously smart home stuff and automations and, new tech and things like that, because I'm always testing out new products, trying new things, driving her crazy half the time with it. So we'll talk about a little bit of everything over there, but it should be fun. And also you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find it. And there is also video versions available on Spotify. So if you like to watch video versions, you should be able to watch on Spotify as well. So Lawrence in Charlotte. I didn't realize you were in Charlotte, Lawrence. Nice, not too far away. Robert Lanes, we got St. Louis. St. Louis, all right. Let's see here. Little rain in Dallas. We do got a lot of Texans here in the house. Maddox is in Dallas. Same here. Did it freeze? Let's see. How are we doing? Can you see me on the stream? Says I got an excellent connection. Is YouTube giving me trouble again today? Looking forward to seeing how you make out with the new lighting project for the master bedroom. Oh yeah, nice. Thanks, Frederick. So you guys can still see me, right? We're not frozen. I see a couple comments here mentioning it was frozen. Flood warning. Trent, hope you guys are staying safe. All right, waiting to see comments here. It's all good. Okay, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Looks good. All right, appreciate it, guys. Probably just take a second to get those comments in. We talked about the lighting project that I am trying to do in my bedroom. Caroline it was a whole thing. So check out the podcast if you want to see more about that. But it is a future video that I hope to bring and plan to bring here on the main channel eventually at some point. So refreshed and all as well. Okay. All good. Thanks. Yeah, try refreshing your screen if it's frozen. I got a solid connection here. I can see. I know a couple weeks ago there was it seemed like it froze for like everybody. I think in the US, I think we determined. So that would be something on like the YouTube server thing. But a lot of times just refreshing will fix it if the stream gets frozen as we're doing this live. So hopefully that'll work for you. Mark, what's up, Mark? Bob, good to see everybody here, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you're having a good week. Oh, and we got Turin at the top of the leaderboard right now. All right, just do it. That's right. That was the podcast, big project. Like I said, I wanted to mention that to you guys. Would love the support if that's something you're interested in. And it's kind of funny too. Maybe the spouses might be interested, like the non-techie person in the house. I've gotten that feedback a little bit from some people. So, they can probably relate to Caroline, whether it's the husband or the wife. There's usually somebody in the house that's not too into tech, and they would probably relate to Caroline on a lot of that stuff. Let's see. YouTube's not paying the bills, right? They should be. They better be. Let's go. Do you have a link to the new podcast, Lawrence? Yeah, there is a link. I put it in the video description of the live stream, so you should be able to. I can post it in the chat too, but it's youtube.com at wife approved podcast. So pretty easy to find there, and it's wife approved. We also have an Instagram Instagram account where we're posting at wife approved podcast over there. And, you could just search on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, Wife Approved Podcast. You should be able to find it that way. Question, will you be having your daughter join y'all on the podcast? Frederick said. That's a good question. I've thought about that. That might be something we could do. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. It seems like it would be a good place for it, as we kind of get into like family stuff and just, we're going to be talking in a future episode a little bit about some of the smart home routines and stuff we use for like back to school and everything. So yeah, I think that definitely would be a good fit. So maybe we'll get her on there one day. Let's see. All right, now another thing I wanted to mention too, we have IFA coming up. So if you're not aware, let me see if I can find the IFA website. IFA is coming up, so that is at the beginning of September. It's in Berlin, Germany, and I wanted to let you know that I will be going this year, so I'm super excited about that. So if you want to see more, definitely kind of follow along. It's my first time going over there, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It's basically like Europe's version of CES, sort of. I've never been, so really excited to go. If you want to see just like all the behind the scenes and stuff, I'll probably be posting a lot to my Instagram stories during the whole experience. I'll also be making some videos. I'm expecting to see a lot of smart home announcements from a lot of the brands that we know and love. That's kind of become a normal thing. We see a lot of announcements every year, so stay tuned for that. I'll definitely share as much of that as I can once that comes around. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of go and maybe find some different things that I'm not familiar with, some different brands and stuff like that over there, maybe more European based. So it should be a good time. Looking forward to that. Terry, what's up, Terry from the UK? Awesome. Adventure Smurf. We got Nebraska in the house. Nice. Mark says that's a good trip for you. Which companies normally announce there? Yeah, so, whoops, let me get my little chat bubble here, right? Yeah, so in years past, we've seen announcements from, and it depends how closely you follow smart home stuff, like, but pretty regularly we'll see stuff from like Aqara usually has a presence there. I think SwitchBot had a presence there. I did a video last year on some of the announcements. Even though I couldn't go, I just did a like kind of a roundup video of the announcements and stuff. So yeah, a lot of the ones we see that announce stuff at CES will also be there. I'm hoping to see Govee is usually pretty active there. So a lot of the kind of normal ones, a lot of the brands that I know and use a lot and talk about here on the channel will probably be there. I know I'm kind of communicating with some of them, so I know some will definitely be there. And looking forward to that. Oh, nice. Palma Kit says, I'm going to IFA. Hope we'll see you there from 3 to 5 September. Yeah, hey, link up. Hit me up. We'll hit me up probably on Instagram might be the best way. And yeah, we'll try to, definitely if you see me, come holler at me. I'll be near the smart home stuff. That'd be awesome. Now, speaking of IFA, let's talk about some of the stuff that was in the news. Now we're getting leaks of and rumors, not just from Apple stuff, but smart home stuff. There was a leak, I guess you can say, about a new Philips Hue bridge. So this is the Philips Hue Bridge Pro, supposedly, was leaked recently. So apparently this surfaced on the Philips Hue website and revealed this Philips Hue Bridge Pro. Let's see, they teased that the hub would be faster and support more connected devices beyond the existing 50 limit, but offering no specifics. I found this interesting. Apparently Lowe's has been sending the Bridge Pro, typo right there, seeding the Bridge Pro to some of its reviewers, which has also led to some devices showing up on Facebook Marketplace. One such listing, thanks Ben, they write, reveals several key details about the Philips Hue Bridge Pro. My question is, who are these reviewers who are getting these devices and then posting them on Facebook Marketplace? That's kind of wild, but hey, is what it is. The new bridge, as expected, will support all the major smart home ecosystems. And let me know in the chat too, are there any Philips Hue users here? Do you guys like Philips Hue? Let us know in the chat. They tease that it'll unlock advanced lighting and home security features. So Philips Hue has been getting kind of more into the security side of things lately, so that could be interesting. So according to this listing or whatever, again, this is like a rumor at this point, I suppose, 150 plus lights and 50 plus controls. So that could be maybe things like smart buttons and stuff like that. Will support Wi-Fi connection instead of just Ethernet. So I would use Ethernet if you could, but I guess it's nice to have Wi-Fi if you can't run Ethernet to the bridge. I guess options are always good. Instant lighting response without slowing down your Wi-Fi, as well as the previously teased support for turning Hue lights into motion sensors with Hue Motion Aware. It's really interesting there. We'll have to see more about that when the time comes. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, new Philips Hue bridge. I guess that's it right there. Here's some of the specs according to this listing, I suppose. See what you guys say about Philips Hue. Is great. Scoobrat says reliable, just crazy expensive. Yep. Hey, I couldn't agree more. That's about sums it up. Trent said lights are going to be motion sensors. Just Frederick, I wish Apple would support more features for lights. Yeah, I hear that. John says I get my bulbs from eBay. That's a good way to go. Save a little bit of money there, maybe. Oh yeah, Kenny, that'd be perfect for somebody like you. Kenny says I have 3 Hue bridges at the moment, probably because of that limitation, that 50 device limit. So looking forward to getting my hands on the Bridge Pro. Hopefully they have a reliable pathway to change over. Yeah, that's a good point. That's always something to think of and consider when you're switching over, especially so many devices. Hopefully they will bridge everything over fairly seamlessly. I know like Aqara did that. Oh, and I should mention too, we were kind of talking about IFA. That was something else this article mentioned. So if you're wanting to know more, it looks like, well, according to this article, it seems quite likely that we'll see the device debut at the upcoming IFA trade show. So Philips Hue, they did announce, I think it was one of their sync boxes last year at IFA. So maybe some stuff from IFA. And even I noticed, even brands that don't attend the event or don't have like a big booth or anything there, a lot of times we'll see product or just announcements, press releases and stuff from a lot of these brands, sometimes that aren't even at the trade show. So I think early September, we're going to be hearing about a lot of new devices and accessories and stuff for our smart home. So that should be exciting. Dawn celebrates 38 months, of membership. My use of smart bulbs is so limited that a new Hue bridge is of little interest to me. Just a few lamps and my outdoor bulbs for color. Yeah, that's honestly, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Don. I used a Philips Hue bridge for years, and actually just recently, like just in the last, I don't know, probably couple of weeks, I've been kind of doing some work to my network rack. I'm going to be redoing my whole network rack here maybe tomorrow, probably by this weekend. Anyways, I've kind of outgrown it. So, but anyways, I realized that I'm at the point where I used to have more Philips Hue lights. I don't really use smart bulbs in my home. I've talked about this before. I prefer smart switches, so I don't really have a lot of smart, just individual light bulbs. I had, I think, 2 lights connected to my Philips Hue bridge. One of them I already switched over to connect directly to Home Assistant, and that left like one more that I got to do. So I was like, all right, I don't need this bridge here taking up space. But I agree that Philips, if I were using a whole lot of light bulbs in my house, smart bulbs, I would probably consider Philips Hue just because, they're tried and true. They're expensive, but they seem to be really reliable. Jeff from Michigan. What's up, Jeff? How's it going? On vacation with no Wi-Fi and poor cellular signal. Well, thank you for joining us on vacation, man. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are vacationing. Still looking at a rack mount UPS. And there's Caroline trolling me in the chat once again. Yeah. Still looking at a rack mount UPS. Yeah, I got my CyberPower. Yeah, the CyberPower UPS rack mount is the one I went with. Yeah. The rack fell. Yeah. So I overloaded it. Long story short, I overloaded it. We talk about it a little bit in, I think, episode 3 coming out soon. But yeah, it was yeah, I need a bigger rack. So that's what we're doing. It's time. It was time to upgrade. I kind of knew it was time, but I pushed the limits a little bit. Tom asked, oops, clicked the wrong one. Tom asked, has anybody been using the Aqara bulbs and had them long enough to speak to their reliability? If anybody has, let Tom know here in the chat. That's another one that I would strongly consider if I used a lot of Aqara light bulbs. I am using one of them just in a lamp, but it's a lamp that I like never use. But I do like those, and they actually tie really well into the light switches, the Aqara light switches. So if you have light bulbs that you still want to use with switches, I do think that Aqara is a really good solution for that, potentially. Yeah, Brian. Thank you, Brian. What's up, Brian? I don't think I said hey to you, man. How's it going? Glad you could be here today. I know you've been working hard. Brian says the Aqara bulbs are rock solid. And what I like about the Aqara bulbs is you can, well, and even their switches, their new switches, is you can use Zigbee or thread, so you can choose. Personally, I like to go with Zigbee on those. If you have an Aqara hub already, you just can't beat the Zigbee connection. But if you don't, you want to connect them over thread, you have that option. So I'm all about, consumers having the option. So that's always a win. Where's a good place to get a good rack at a good price? Racks can be expensive, man. I've been looking a lot this past week or so, and Amazon is just where I've been looking. Just depending on what you're looking for. Check out Amazon. They've got a lot of different options at different price points. Also, just depends on if you want like a closed rack and you want fans in it, or an open rack. But you can find some pretty affordable ones on there. William, what's up, William? We got Canada in the house. Oh yeah, see, I always forget about Facebook Marketplace. I always forget about that. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace, and apparently you can find leaked new smart home devices on there too. Let me turn this light off. I'm over here flashing blue. I forget about that light. Oh, interesting. Turin says the colors seem a little less saturated on the bulbs than some of the others. Interesting. So which ones do you prefer? Let me know, Turin. Again, I haven't used a whole lot of smart bulbs. I know the LifeX bulb that I used for a little while, that thing seemed to be extremely well saturated. The colors were really good on that one. And I haven't used the color Aqara bulb. I only used the white, the tunable white one. Oh, George went all in on Brilliant Gen 2 for my new place. Ordered 10 controls. Fingers crossed the new version is a better version. Exciting. So if you're not familiar with Brilliant, let me pull that up real quick. Brilliant makes these little like switch panel. I don't know what you call it. It's a light switch technically with a touch panel or whatever. And it replaces your switches. I know George was big on them and then had some issues at one point. And looks like he went all in on the new gen. So they looked like they were kind of closing shop for the business. And then I think they got bought out or something like that. We talked about it a while back when it happened. And they're back at it with a new generation. So I'm excited to see how you like those, George. I would definitely be looking for that new smart home tour video. George has like more smart home tour videos on YouTube than anybody else because he moves like every 6 months, which is it's fun. We like the tour videos. Still crazy expensive. Yeah, they are expensive, Dan said. Oh, Torin. Thank you, Torin. Says, I use the Linkine bulbs and lamps, but they're Wi-Fi. For my living room ceiling lights, I'll stick with Hue. Yeah, that's the only thing. If I was using a whole bunch of bulbs, I probably wouldn't want to use Wi-Fi based if I had a bunch of them throughout the house. Not a problem, just a few here and there, but yeah, that's why I do like Zigbee or Thread or something like that for those types of devices. Anyone ever use the Whiz bulbs? They have an Edison style. I've never used the Whiz bulbs. I think Lawrence, haven't you used the? I thought I remember you saying you used the Whiz bulbs before. Does this one? I think GE Sync just released one too, but I'm not sure if it supports Matter. A nice looking Edison style bulb. Let's see if I can find that one. This is the one I was thinking of. I'm not sure if this supports Matter though. It might not. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. All right, my bad. But yeah, all the Wiz ones do. Those connect over Wi-Fi too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay, there you go. Thanks, Lawrence. Yeah, yes, but Wi-Fi, so they are in a drawer. There you go. Yeah. And speaking of bulbs, Mark asked, what's the score with nanoleaf bulbs currently? Have they improved? I'll leave that to you guys in the chat if anybody has nanoleaf bulbs. They actually have Wi-Fi ones now and the, like the original Matter over Thread bulbs. So it probably depends on whether you're wanting the Thread ones or the Wi-Fi ones. And then also, a lot of factors there, especially when you're looking at a Thread network. I've heard some people speak really highly of them. I also heard a lot of people, having all kinds of issues with the Thread bulbs. So, it's it may depend on various factors, but again, I have a lot of nanoleaf lights, but it's like the stuff like that. I do have one of their light strips on my desk right now that works fine. It's the Matter over Thread light strip that they have. So I can't really speak on the bulbs though. Checking up in the comments here. Oh, the Zigbee. What else we got here? Wanted to share this too. I was kind of hoping to make a video on this, like a full video, and I just have not had the time to get that done. But I've been using and testing one of these here, the Invis Outlet Aura. I think we've talked about this on the live streams before. But this is a smart outlet that has a built-in nightlight and sensors. So they have another outlet that, let's see if I can find their actual website. Yeah, here it is. So they have another one that has a bunch of sensors built in, and that's already available, the Pro right here. And what's cool though is you can change the plate. So you can pop the plate off and get their new one, which as you just saw is currently on Kickstarter. They have surpassed their goal by a lot, it looks like. So people are excited about this. It seems I think they surpassed their goal in just a few hours or something in the first day. But it supports Matter. You can fully control each of the outlets in Matter. You can control the light as well through Matter, color, all that stuff. I kind of like this little GIF right here. They do look pretty cool, man. They do look pretty cool. But yeah, I think they extended the discount, like the early bird discounts and stuff like that. So you can take advantage of this if you wanted to jump on this Kickstarter. You can get one or two of them kind of pre-ordered. And then, like I said, their other ones are available now. Curious what you guys think about something like that. I love the nightlight portion of it. And I mean, I like the whole thing of it and the one with the sensors too. Two different devices really, but I think I have I don't know, commitment anxiety when it comes to installing things like in the wall like that, because there's very few places where I install like a smart outlet that I just want it to always be connected in my smart home. You know what I'm saying? Like usually with outlets, it's stuff that gets plugged in and moved around or whatever, not usually something that stays plugged in all the time. I don't know if that's just me. So like I'm thinking like the outlet portion isn't that useful to me personally, but I love the nightlight part on there and the sensors, the sensors too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you into smart outlets? Oh, nice. Ben just backed 2 of those. Can't wait to try them out. Nice. Yeah, I've been pretty happy with it so far. I've just been like testing the nightlight and stuff. And it also has that one that you just pre-ordered has, which I'm sure you know this, but it has a light sensor in it also, which is cool. So you can basically have it configured to where it'll adjust that light based on, how dark the room is and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Zigbee Z-Wave outlets by all my windows for Christmas lights. Would be helpful during Christmas time. So what do you do with them the rest of the year, like in your smart home? Do you just use, or maybe you don't use the outlets at all the rest of the year? I guess that could be the case. Yeah, Frederick. So I'm curious, what do you guys use your smart outlets for all year long? Is there something you keep plugged in there all the time that you like to have in your smart home? I'm only using one all the time. I think I mentioned it before, but it's up here. It's to control my camera lights, and that I'm using the Eve outlet. Yeah, definitely good for pathway lights. Like I said, I really like the light feature on those. That's the first one I've seen like that, especially the first one I've seen that works with Matter like that, fully controllable in Matter. Yeah, I mean, I do get that. Too many spark plugs gets ugly, so I guess even if you're using it for different things, to have that capability there is nice. That's true. I really don't even use that many smart plugs these days either, unless it's the holidays. When the holidays come around, I pull out I have a stack about that long of smart plugs just all linked together, stored in my closet. And I pull that out, probably every like November, getting ready for the holidays. I use a ton of smart plugs around the holidays. Good question. John says, does it have a power meter in them? Let's see. I don't. Let's see. Sports Home Assistant. I'm trying to remember if this one has power monitoring. Wait, which one am I looking at here? Okay, I'm looking at the Pro here. Forgot which one I was on. This one has a temperature sensor, occupancy sensor, and the air quality sensor. I don't know if this one has. I've been using the one with the light. Checking the comments here. Well, that's a good use case, Raul. Raul said using a smart plug, or you could use an outlet for your computer. It's a good idea. Yeah, I don't see power monitoring on this one. Let's look at I doubt this one has it. That Magic Touch control is pretty cool too. Hey, look, there's Aaron. Aaron got some videos on there. That's cool. Oh, dang. I did not even know that I was on that Kickstarter page. Okay, well, there. Shane Creates. That's me. That's funny. That's from my Instagram. So you can adjust all the colors. Yeah, I don't see power monitoring. I'll have to double check that. I've been using it just in the Home app so far. I was gonna bring it into Home Assistant or Homey also and use it there a little bit, which I haven't had a chance to do. And Home app doesn't give you power monitoring, so I haven't experienced that. But it doesn't look like they do. But I'll double check that. Yes, Torin, they are Wi-Fi. That's correct. Oh yeah, that's good. So Don says I have thoughts on this. So Don says I plug anything that might need power cycling into my outlets. I have a bunch of things that fall into that category. That makes sense for certain things. I know people, and I'm not sure if you're doing this, Don. I know people who will use smart plugs and plug in smart devices like other smart home devices and use a smart plug in case they like fall offline or whatever, and they'll power cycle them that way to like reset them. That to me, it makes sense and it works. To me, I don't like that because I feel like you shouldn't have to do that with a smart home device. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to power cycle it all the time because it's falling offline. So I would try to find a device that's more reliable than having to do that. But it definitely works in the interim. And if you have other devices that just for whatever reason need to be power cycled, makes a lot of sense. That's interesting. That's always kind of a debate here, like what to do with your smart plugs and stuff all year long when you use them for the holidays. Keenan says, I had some outlets for Christmas lights. I would just leave them in Apple Home all year. That way I could just deactivate my automations and not set up and rebuild them the next year. Yeah, that's always kind of a debate. I've been asked that many times over the years, like what do you do with all your smart plugs and your holiday lights and stuff? And I've gotten to where I use a lot of smart Christmas lights with the smarts built into them, like the Govee Christmas lights and stuff. I used a lot of those this past year. I've used Twinkly smart lights and stuff, which connect directly to Wi-Fi. And I've kind of tried different methods over the years, but I'm at the point now where like at the end of the season or whenever I take them down, I just delete everything out of the home app. That may be because my home app and my smart home is changing so much all the time that it's kind of a pain to keep up with stuff like that with no response or whatever if you're unplugging things. But yeah, I'll just take everything out, delete it out of the home app, put the devices in a closet till next year, and just reset up everything. That's kind of where I've landed after doing it for a few years. Oh yeah, that's a not a bad point. Adventure Smurf says is talking about the in-wall outlet being so permanent, and smart home devices being flaky. Um, you know, Not wanting to install something like that in case there's no response and things like that. Makes sense. There's actually a feature in the Invis app, I believe, that allows you to I can't remember. I have to pull it up to recall, but it allows you to reset the device or whatever. Basically, cut the power. Basically, like you're flipping the breaker, which is what you would have to do, I guess, to reset a device like that, or power cycle a device that's hardwired. Which I thought that was pretty nice that they had that feature in there. Yep, that's one way to do it there. Frederick says you could create a holiday room and put those items in there and hide the room from your Apple Home. But see, they would still be all no response for me because I would unplug all the lights and things, which I think would annoy me, halfway through the year. But definitely one strategy you could take there. Yeah, Dustin. Yeah, that's how I do it. I don't know. I guess I kind of enjoy creating the automations, and I found that maybe it's because I have so many different like smart lights and stuff that I use that it might change slightly each year, like where I put different things and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just kind of take joy in, I guess, creating the automations and setting them up as long as it goes smoothly. If I'm having issues, then it's not so much fun. But yeah, I reset up everything and then just create a few automations that kind of cut stuff on and on and off. It's pretty simple. Usually my automations, it's usually like all the outside lights, come on at sunset, go off in the morning. And then all the inside lights, it's usually like the Christmas lights and stuff inside. It's usually come on when somebody arrives home and turn off when everyone leaves. Got Spain in the house. What's up, Eric? Zane. All right. Let's see. I think there was one. Oh, yeah. Speaking of automations and stuff, I don't know if this is like new necessarily, but Homey Pro Mini is now shipping. I don't know when this started shipping, and if it may not be new, but for those who may be interested in this, like I really do like using the Homey Pro. They now have the Homey Pro Mini. If you're not aware of it, this is pretty much got it's got the same automation capabilities. It does come with Matter support, Zigbee, Thread, Ethernet. It's just a little less processing, and then the Homey Pro. Wait, that's the bridge. Let me look for the comparison. But you can do all the advanced Homey flows, which is one of the things I really like about Homey. And let's see, there's got to be a comparison. Here we go. So Homey Pro and Homey Pro Mini, you can kind of look at the comparison here. Pretty much can do all the same stuff. It just doesn't have Z-Wave, Bluetooth, infrared, or 433 megahertz like the Homey Pro does. But you can get the bridge for like another $60 or something if you need those. But a lot of people, I would argue, probably wouldn't even need that. So, and it's literally half the price. So you can get a Homey Pro Mini for, I think it's $199 versus the Homey Pro for $399. So twice the price, and you can do a lot with that, with automations and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, I see some people asking questions. So let's do some questions here. Go ahead and ask your question. I have flagged a couple, but you can ask again. Thank you, Brian. But yeah, please, from here on out, let's ask once, and I'll save the questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I can today. All good, all good. American, can't, I can't say that, but I like the flag. Let's see. Is it possible to dim RGB light bulbs with Innovelli wall switch or Aqara dimmers? That's a good question. So it kind of depends. Short answer probably is no. They do have like their smart bulb mode, like the Innovelli. Let's take the Innovelli white switches, for example. Their smart bulb mode essentially just locks the relay, so the relay that it's wired to doesn't do anything, and then you set up automations, and it just kind of acts as a smart button, so you can't really use a dimmer. There is a feature on the Innovelli Zigbee switches, and I'm not sure if it works on the Z-Wave ones, but I think is it the blue series, either the blue or the red series, which is the Zigbee ones. They have a Zigbee binding feature, I believe is what it's called, where you can actually bind Zigbee devices directly to it. I've never used that, but essentially that's what that allows you to do is to fully control the device directly without having to go through your smart home hub. I think you can do dimming that way, but it does require that binding feature. It would have to be like Zigbee to Zigbee. They were supposedly working on that with the Matter version, Matter over Thread version. That is something that is supposed to be a thing. It's called Matter binding. I think I've only seen Matter binding done once in real life, and that was with the LifeX, that little LifeX table light. What was it called? The Luna, the LifeX Luna. And I tested that out, and I set up Matter binding with from that to a LifeX bulb. At the time, it only worked with LifeX devices. So anyways, Matter binding is a thing, but which would be able, to solve what you're looking for. But at the time, I don't think it's anybody's really doing it like that. So like I said, short answer is probably no. Generally speaking, smart bulbs and smart switches do not play well together. Definitely dimmers and bulbs is probably not going to work well unless you look for one that does have that smart bulb mode, which Innovelli does. The Aqara light switches, you can do it with the Aqara switches too. They call it something different. They call it, I think, a relay lock or something like that. But you can do it with the Aqara switches. I'm actually doing it in my studio. I started using one of the Aqara 4-button switches, and it's wired to my ceiling light, and I have that basically the relay locked, so it doesn't actually cut the power. And I just have an automation set up that will turn on and off my Nanoleaf skylights that are up here, which is, it's a smart light. So, and it works really well. So yeah, if you're wanting smart bulbs with a smart switch, you need to find something that can do that, like a smart bulb mode. All right, let me try to. Oh, thanks, Brian, for the explanation there. Red is Z-Wave, blue is Zigbee, white is the Thread for the Innovelli switches. Appreciate it. I was close, I think. I'm going to flag some of these questions. Yeah, and preface your comment with the word question, if you would. That'll help it stick out a little bit for me. And I can flag it. Okay, C-Buzz asked earlier, and thanks for your patience with these questions, y'all. C-Buzz asked, question on smart plugs, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, or Thread. Recommendations, please. UK plugs, but most manufacturers do all plugs, I guess. Yeah, so great question. This is going to be a matter of preference. Some people love Zigbee. Some people love Thread. Some people hate Thread. It depends. Personally, and Wi-Fi is okay. You could probably get more affordable devices, smart plugs and stuff like that with Wi-Fi, but I'm not really a fan of using Wi-Fi smart plugs. I actually just got this one from Third Reality. I think this is Wi-Fi. Let me see. This is a Matter. What is it? Doesn't even say on the box. Supports energy monitoring though. That's another factor, is if you want energy monitoring. Sorry, got distracted there. I just got one of these. I'm not sure if it's, wait, does it say right there? Nope. I don't know. I think that might be Wi-Fi, but I'll have to test that one out. But yeah, some brands do it better than others, like options. So if you have, I would say probably Zigbee or Thread. If you have a Zigbee hub that you can use, whatever it is, whether you're using like Home Assistant or Aqara or whatever, Zigbee's typically a really good protocol and is very reliable. So that's my thoughts on that. But that's going to kind of depend on who you ask, I think. Tom said Third Reality is Zigbee and it's the best smart plug I've ever used. Yeah, so most of the Third Reality stuff is Zigbee, but these new Matter plugs I don't think are. I hope these are out. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about these. See if I can find it online. That's it. Okay, it's online, so I can talk about it. Let's see. Yep, okay, this one right here is Matter over Wi-Fi. But it does support energy monitoring, works with the Home Assistant and everything. So, but they do also sell Zigbee. They sell a lot of Zigbee stuff, and their Zigbee stuff is really good. Everybody speaks really highly of them. Everything that I've used from Third Reality is solid. And so, you know, Wi-Fi is not a problem if it's a brand that makes solid stuff. So, you know, kind of consider the brand that you're buying as well. Brian is still using a bunch of Eve plugs in his home. Yeah, and they also have, check this one out too. Tom said didn't know this one that existed. Check this one out. The ZP1. Yes, I got one of those here too. These just came like in the mail, so I haven't unboxed them. But yeah, this one's pretty cool because it's two of them in one. And this one here is Zigbee, so these are on pre-sale, I guess, right now. So you got options. Oh, nice. John says the Third Reality bulbs are great. Yep. Oh, nice. Lawrence said, love the ZP1. Okay, cool. So they are available. They have been shipping already, I guess. Cool. That's good to hear. Yeah, I love the design of these. I'm actually thinking about putting one of these in our master bathroom and replacing the old smart plug. I have it's actually an old thread plug that I have in there. It's like the only Wemo device that I have still, so I'm probably gonna replace that. One of the few smart plugs that I have. Actually, I could use the smart outlet there. That could make sense there. And it has a nightlight built in. I think I might have just found a good use case for that outlet we were talking about with the light built in, because I like to use a smart plug there normally for my wife's hair straightener, so she shouldn't accidentally leave it on, or if she does accidentally leave it on, just have an automation turn it off. I might put that outlet there. Cool. That helps. Please hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Frederick. Let me check out some more questions. I appreciate y'all's patience. Let me try to get through as many of these as I can. Kevin Smart Home says, I can't pair my Aqara G4. Tried all the steps AI suggests. Any ideas how to get it to work? The Aqara G4, so the G410 or the original G4. It's hard to troubleshoot something like that without knowing more information on there. It's usually something to do with your network, I would say. Make sure, you know, that little chime repeater is near the doorbell and everything when you're setting it up. You know, it's got to be close within a certain amount of feet. And just make sure you have a good Wi-Fi connection. Again, it's kind of hard to troubleshoot exactly without knowing more details there. Larry says, have you ever played with the program OpenRGB? I'm guessing you could do a lot more effects with the lights behind you while using this app. It auto discovers all your LED devices. I've not used that one. Let's check it out. OpenRGB. Let's check it out together. Open source RGB lighting control that doesn't depend on manufacturer's software. Hey, I'm liking it already. They got a Mac version. Okay. Let's Could be something fun to play around with. Nope, I have not used this one. Honestly, might have to check it out though. Supported devices. Let's see what all it supports. Okay. I might look into this. Honestly, I've noticed with like the studio here is pretty much all Nanoleaf stuff. My bedroom is pretty much all Govee stuff. It is nice to stick to the same brand within a room because then you can synchronize everything really easily with the manufacturer's app or scenes or whatever. But I just don't really use a lot of the crazy effects very often. Like, I don't know, I usually just have them set to certain colors and things like that, or I'll configure certain scenes. I haven't really found a need for anything like too crazy, but I don't know. Maybe I'll look for one. Thanks for the suggestion there. Oh, nice. TacWorks asked if I've ever used Controller for HomeKit workflows. I've been using them more recently with some good success now that they allow a Mac to be the hub. Yeah, I have played around with them a little bit, but I don't use workflows regularly in the Controller for HomeKit app. But yeah, thanks for that reminder. Now you can use your Mac as the hub. So as like a Controller for HomeKit hub to do kind of more advanced things. So I might need to play around with that a little bit more. That is nice that you can now use the Mac as the hub. That's a big deal, I think. That's probably how I would prefer to use it. I might need to look into that a little bit more. Zeus asked, do your Govee table lamps switch back to white if HomeKit automations turn off and turn it back on? I'm using a smart plug in the automation instead to get around it. No, I don't think so. One thing you can do, I would suggest, is when so it looks like since it's an automation, and obviously cutting the power with the smart plug does not reset it to white, so it's an automation thing in HomeKit. So what you can do is use a third-party HomeKit app. The Controller for HomeKit is a great one. We were just talking about that. But if you don't have that, that's a paid app. If you don't have it or don't want to get it, you can use the Eve app is another one, and that one's free. There's some others that you can use, but those are two good ones you could check out. And create your automation in that app to turn on the lights. And the difference there than with the Home app, again, it creates a HomeKit automation, so it'll still show up in the Apple Home app, but if you create it in one of these third-party apps, you can actually select the individual attributes for the light or for any device when you create your automation. You can't really do that in HomeKit, so if you turn on the light, it'll just, you can't choose specific automation or specific attributes. So when you do it in a third-party app, you can go in there and say, okay, in my automation, turn on this light, or you choose the light and then you choose just the power state. You don't mess with the brightness, the color, saturation, any of that stuff. You pick just the on-off state and leave everything else alone. And that should probably fix what you're talking about there. So it might be something worth trying and see if that helps. Jake asked, what's the best smart switch that can control both hardwired dumb lights and non-hardwired Matter smart lights in a room? I would probably look at either, we talked about both of these already, either the Innovelli switches or the Aqara switches. I'm a big fan of these new Aqara switches, the H2 switches. They've got a few different versions of them. Like I said, I actually used an Innovelli in here for a while. Innovelli is nice, but there's a lot to it. I like these. These are pretty simple. If you have an Aqara hub, I should preface that. If you have an Aqara hub, then I would check these out. But this is the one I ended up installing here. And like I said, I just mentioned this earlier, but I put it in like a relay lock so it doesn't actually cut the power for the main light. And then I've got all these other ones that can control automations or other Matter smart accessories in my house or in my room or whatever. But that can also control the physical dumb bulbs as well if you want to do that. So those are probably the ones that I would consider that I'm familiar with. Michael says the Aqara ones are great. Nice. Thanks, Michael. Cool. All right. Well, gosh, I tried to get to as many questions as I could. I appreciate everybody's patience and everything. I will note, if you are a channel member and I wasn't able to get your question, definitely, shoot me a message or tag me over in our Discord server. I'll always reply to those as quickly as I can. Also, if you want to become a member, you can do that for like $5 a month. You can get access to that member Discord server, early access to new videos, all that good stuff. We do a monthly video chat over there in Discord too, which is always a lot of fun. And last but not least, again, check out our new podcast with Caroline. The wife joined me. You'll hear lots of her ranting about our smart home, and we're going to try not to argue too much about it on there, but you get a different perspective from our smart home and our daily lives over there on the podcast. There's a link to that down in the live stream video description, or you can just search the Wife Approved podcast pretty much anywhere, and you should be able to find it. So I appreciate your support. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out today and tuning in to the live stream. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. God bless.